All right, everybody, welcome back to Sky Blue Podcast. Today we are joined with Jay from J&N Environmental. You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Absolutely. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me to
Yeah, no
this.
problem.
My name is Jay Bradshaw. I'm the co-owner of J&N Environmental Solutions, Inc. We do abatement. So we primarily focus on the asbestos lead abatement. We're a DOSH registered company. I hold the C22 CSLB contractor's license and been doing this about 18 years.
Okay,
So
well, it's a long time.
yeah, here
There you
to
go.
answer any questions you guys may have and
Well,
hopefully can help out.
let's start at the very beginning. What is an abatement?
So an abatement by definition is to lessen, basically. So that doesn't necessarily mean to remove all of the asbestos in an area, but to remove what is needed. So that's the definition of abatement is to remove, to lessen the amount of material. In this case, primarily it's going to be asbestos.
Okay. What other things can you abate besides just asbestos?
So we do lead removal and mold remediation sometimes, but primarily asbestos and lead removal.
Okay. And how would one go about to find out if they would need your services?
So I always say a good avenue to go is to have your materials tested. Depending on what you need done, if you're doing a remodel, if you have a water loss, if you just don't like the look of maybe that popcorn ceiling or whatnot, I always recommend to have the material tested by a certified hygienist lab. There's plenty of them out there. And then you'll know what you're dealing with. And then we look at those survey reports, and they're going to identify different procedures that we're going to use as far as the removal, what type of disposal we're going to use, kind of helps out with our process. But yeah, we do work closely with the labs to identify, if the asbestos is there. If the asbestos is not there, then a company like us wouldn't necessarily need to be involved. Like I said, we specialize in the asbestos removal, and we conduct it safely and properly.
Got it. Understood. Now, treat me if I was a homeowner and I don't know nothing. I'm just oblivious to everything.
Yeah.
What is asbestos?
Yeah. So asbestos is an actual binding material. So under the microscope, it can look like maybe a piece of fiberglass, but it's very, very small, microscopic. It's actually a very useful material. It was used in a lot of different applications. It's very heat resistant, was used in brake pads. It's an excellent binding material, similar to fiberglass. That's why it's prevalently used in your drywall joint compound materials, in your mastic materials. It's a very good binding material. And when it's in place, it's of no health concern.
Okay.
And I always like to, enforce that. So, let's say your home has walls, you're concerned that there's asbestos. When the material is in place, it poses no health threat. But when you, what we call disturb it or cut into it and release the fibers, that is when you have an issue and potential health concerns with the asbestos.
Okay. And again, me not knowing anything, what kind of health risk can you kind of expose yourself to, so to say?
So the health risk is going to be lung cancer primarily. Those tiny little fibers that I spoke about earlier, once they're disturbed, you have the chance to inhale those fibers, and they kind of attach into your lungs. Now your lungs are going to try to fight off that fiber, and it's going to build up an infection. And this takes a period of time, usually a fairly long period of time, up to 20 years sometimes. But it will cause cancer. So a very small amount of this asbestos fiber material can cause cancer.
Understood. Yeah, I'd always hear it on the radio, right?
Yeah.
Mesothelioma or whatever the case may
Exactly.
be. Call us now.
Yeah.
So, you guys are an abatement company. Who do you guys typically work with as far as, how you get your leads and how do you get about to get your clients?
Yep. Being a licensed registered abatement contracting company, we work with a wide variety of clients, whether it be somebody who's wanting to remodel, whether it's a restoration company like yourself who has a water damage situation and needs the identified asbestos wall, floor, ceiling, whatnot to be removed properly in order to help facilitate your dry out or your reconstruction. Property management companies, sometimes government agencies. So there's really a wide variety of clients that we work with that have the need for the proper, safe and compliant removal of the asbestos material.
Yeah, I would think that there's probably a lot of people who would need your services who really don't need it or think about it, right?
Correct.
They just don't know they need your type of service. So, how long? How should I say? So, say for instance, you come into a job. Say for instance, we call you out on a job. We
Sure.
need some assistance with abatement. What is your process like? How long does it take to complete, and what steps are there? Do you take?
Yep. So it's a great question. So depending on the project,
Hmm.
everything depends on the project. Whether it's going to be a small 2x2 flood cut, that's a fairly simple process, up
Hmm.
to a full warehouse that has asbestos in it, or a house that has a fire. Our process is always going to be the same. You're going to bring someone like me or an estimator in to assess
Hmm.
what's needed for the removal, and then we can put contracts together or whatnot. Prior to us deploying our crews on site, we do notify all the proper regulatory agencies. Besides the company certifications and the CSLB certifications that we hold, we have to do certain notifications on every single job.
Okay.
Primarily, the two agencies is going to be OSHA on every job, or AQMD. In this region, it's South Coast Air Quality Management District.
And that's what I was going to ask. Air quality management. I bet you a lot of
Yep.
people don't even know what that is.
Yep, Air Quality
Right.
Management District. If you don't know who they are, you're probably very, very lucky. They're the main regulatory agency for demo and also asbestos demolition in this area. So they will arrive on the job sites, review your paperwork, review all your company's licenses information, make sure your containments are set up properly,
Mhm.
and they do thorough inspections to make sure we're complying with the proper safe removal of the asbestos material. It's kind of a checks and balance on our work.
Okay. And I would assume they probably don't show up on every job site, right? Especially you're in and out of these homes. How many times have you actually encountered them on your job sites?
I would say about 10% of jobs that we do.
Okay, that's
They
actually
will,
pretty high.
yeah, it's pretty high. They'll show up. There may be a week where they show up on every job, and then you don't see them for a month or two. So, they're very unpredictable.
And what are they kind of looking for when they get to your jobs? Seeing if somebody's not wearing the proper PPE,
Yep,
seeing if the containments aren't right,
yep.
just there to hassle you, just there to say hi. What are they doing?
Sometimes it feels like they're just there to hassle us,
Right.
but no, they're looking through our paperwork first, making sure we have the proper surveys that we spoke about
Okay. Yep.
earlier,
Mhm.
that identifies the asbestos material. Make sure we have our notifications in line.
Mhm.
They're looking for our company certifications, but one of the big things they're looking for is our equipment operating properly,
Okay.
and containments in place that are proper.
Okay.
So
And how big is maintenance on your equipment? Do you guys have to maintain them regularly? Do you guys service them? Is it just the same piece of machine you use every single job? What is it? What kind of machines do you use? What do you
yeah,
use?
so all of our machines that we use on asbestos projects are registered with AQMD. So we
Okay.
actually pay registration
Okay.
for those machines, and we do upkeep on the machines after every job. We do a full decontamination
Okay.
process for the machines, switching out filtrations and that sort of thing. Make sure they work properly.
Get them ready for the next job,
Get
right?
them ready for the next job.
That's always the goal.
Yeah.
All right. So you say your crews, you go in there, you mentioned containments, talk about PPE. What kind of training do your crews have to have in order to be in there and actually remove this, what they say is a hazardous material?
Yeah, so all of our field personnel goes through the supervisors go through a 40-hour what's called a HIRA supervisor certification course.
Okay.
So it's a 40-hour course, and there's various classes that do provide that for the guys. They also go through a fit test to make sure that they're able to wear a mask.
Yeah.
They go through a medical screening, which shows that they're physically fit and able to work in these environments, as well as like a pulmonary function test is going to be part of their annual physical. So all of these that we do are on an annual basis for all
Okay.
the employees.
And when you're talking about fit for and respirators, what type of respirators do you guys usually use? Just half face, full face? You ever have to get gnarly, get the big back?
Rarely, yeah,
Rarely. Yeah.
rarely. No, our normal process is going to be half face or full face,
Okay.
depending on what material we're removing.
Okay.
If it's a highly friable material like a acoustic, we will utilize the full face. If we're doing flood cuts of a drywall, half face is definitely sufficient.
Okay. And to combat a lot of people saying that abatements are just hyped and,
Yeah,
not needed, so to say. I mean, all this is for not just the customer safety, but for your guys' as well, too, right?
correct.
So you guys are going overboard for your own techs to make sure they're safe throughout these whole processes. I'm assuming, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Your normal homeowner who may, screw into a wall or scrape a little bit of that
Uh huh.
popcorn ceiling, that's maybe a one off, but our guys are out there every day.
Yeah.
So I always say there's, what we are here to provide is two things. One, primarily, safety for your family. So during that acoustic removal or the drywall or the floor removal, you are getting the project done correctly, proper containments, everything.
Nice.
The other thing we provide is liability. So you have maybe a tenant situation or an owner or a business or whatnot where you have people there that could cause complaints if things were not done properly. And that's really a big part of what we do is all the proper notifications, certifications, licenses,
Mhm.
everything, daily pictures, showing that it is being done properly.
Okay. Perfect. Now, what would happen if somebody hired, let's just say, Joe the handyman, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to kind of remodel their kitchen. They just sent him in there, just start going to town, start moving drywall and everything. And then they learned about asbestos and they went ahead and got it tested. And then they realized, hey, this actually contains asbestos.
Yeah.
What kind of position did that guy just put him
Not a very good one. And unfortunately,
in?
we do see this very, very often. So, as I mentioned before, the asbestos material is of no concern unless you disturb it.
Uh
Well,
huh.
Joe Handyman just went in there
Yeah.
and disturbed this material.
Yeah. No containment is nothing. I'm sure
Nope.
you've seen it 100
I've,
times.
I've seen it plenty times. Yeah, it's not a fun situation. A lot of times you'll have a homeowner with children. Maybe their toys have the dust on it or whatnot. So it opens up more or less a can of worms. AQMD will get involved in a situation like
Okay.
that. They call it a procedure 5,
Yep. Pro 5.
a pro 5, correct. So you're now dealing with a situation where you have open contamination. So these labs consultants that we've talked about earlier, they come in, do some additional testing if needed, and write up an actual cleanup work plan, which we
Okay.
call a procedure 5, which may include removing and disposing of contents, carpet, additional drywall, wiping down surfaces, depending on how bad the situation is. It's not a fun situation for the contamination issue
Yeah.
that the family may have incurred, and it's not a it's quite expensive as
I was
well.
going to say that doesn't sound cheap.
It's definitely
That
not.
doesn't sound
Yeah.
cheap. Yeah. I know. Something so proper steps can be taken to avoid all this, right?
Yep.
If people just knew what they were dealing with up front. So, what can I guess the point of these podcasts is for us to put
Right.
awareness out there for people to understand, right? Hey,
Yep.
these are the potential things that can happen.
Yep.
So, what can we do to kind of put it out there to let these people know that hey, asbestos is a real thing? Unfortunately,
Yep.
there's guidelines, regulations, laws in place about this stuff.
Correct.
What can we do to educate them a little bit more about it?
I think just things like this, talking with people, trying to get the word out. Where are your resources to learn more about the asbestos? Like I
Uh-huh.
mentioned, you can look up hygienists, laboratories. There's many that are local. AQMD again is a very good resource for these types of questions of what are the potential harms, what causes them, etc. So the resources are out there with Cal OSHA, AQMD, local contractors like
Mhm.
yourself, and then just exposure. I'm sure most people out there have had a situation themselves or have known a relative or neighbor who have has been in a situation with a water loss
Yep.
or has heard of asbestos. So
In South Orange County, everybody's had a slab leak, I'd say. Right.
exactly, exactly.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about the abatement process and what's involved. Um, do you anything else you kind of want to add as far as what you guys do to kind of protect the homeowners or just your process at all in general to just the abatement process?
Yeah, with the homeowners and the abatement process, it's important that we go through the whole process with them. Where are we going to set up containments? How many
Mhm.
days are we going to be there? What areas are we going to be working? So I think communication with homeowners and going back to what we're providing is safety, health safety for the family, and and ease of mind for liabilities with business owners or other
Mhm.
people with the situation that need the project done right.
Yeah, because I know when people hear about asbestos or they have asbestos, you always hear, "Oh,
Yeah,
everybody in my family has asthma. We got to be extra
yeah,
careful and stuff along those lines." So, say for instance, and everybody doesn't want a Pro 5 situation like that. But say
right.
that happened, and what would happen with all the contents inside the house, all the soft goods, all the linens, all the fabric, furniture. What takes place in that? Are they destroyed? Are they cleanable? What kind of steps can you take to try to repair that procedure 5?
Right. Um, the hygienists, and we've referred back to these hygienists, we work with them very closely, and
Huh?
everyone does in this industry. So they actually write up the cleanup work plan, and a big part of that is going to be the contents. How far is the contamination? Is it just in the bedroom? Is it throughout the whole house? Is it just in the kitchen, etc.? So whatever rooms are considered to be in the contaminated zone, the contents as well are considered to be contaminated,
Okay.
and how they call out for handling of these personal properties or contents is for the soft items to be disposed. Yeah,
Okay.
your carpet, your toys, your linens, your blankets, your pillows, clothes, all of it. They do recommend for all those items to be disposed. Hard items like
Just
wood, metal is something that we are able to clean and return back
just
to the
completely gone, huh?
complete.
Joe the handyman
That's
came in and all their
that.
stuff's
Yeah,
ruined now, right?
it's not a
That's
it's not a
horrible.
fun situation.
Yeah, not at all. Now, getting back to kind of like the homeowners in the process. Now, um, I kind of get asked this a lot, and again, I'm just a restoration guy. I'm not a abatement guy. They always ask, "Can we stay in the home?" They ask us the same question.
Yeah,
Can we stay in the home during
yeah.
your process?
Yeah.
Us, we put containments up. We're not dealing with anything hazard. It's no big deal for us. What is your response to that?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's safe depending on where we're working
Huh?
and what areas we're blocking. Like I mentioned, the containments, communicating with the homeowner. Are we blocking a hallway to do removal in the hallway that's, access to all their bedrooms and all their bathrooms? Well, that could be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah,
Are we working, throughout the entire house? But say we're just working in one bedroom. We're going to be isolated to work in just that one bedroom. the the entire rest of the house is absolutely safe to
okay.
be in. It's not fun. It's loud. It's
Yeah,
annoying,
yeah, that's what I tell them.
but it's
Same thing.
safe.
Yeah. So it's not more of a health issue, it's more of an accessibility issue when it comes to
That's
it,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I know everybody they hear asbestos and they freak out, but
Yeah.
if it's one room in the back of their house, they don't got to vacate their whole home
No.
just because of it.
No. Our containments that we set up are pretty serious. It's a big deal about what we do. Is
Yeah.
is the containments,
And
and
correct me if I'm wrong, it's not only 100% sealed, but it's also on negative air, right?
that's correct.
So when you want to explain that process a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, the areas that we work, obviously, we're going to have full containments. If we're doing flood cuts in a room, that's maybe 2 foot high off the floor, we're going to have 6 mil poly, 2 layers covering every surface that is not being cut. So you can picture like a very secure plastic bubble in
Yeah.
that work area, right? And those machines that you were talking about earlier that are registered with AQMD, they're negative air machines. So some are smaller, some are bigger. What they do is they pull the air, they filter it through a HEPA filtration, two stages, and then we utilize a duct system to duct it out to the environment. So what that does, it creates the negative air pressure for all these little tiny dust particles that we're
Mhm.
very, very concerned with. Um, that we're cleaning, wiping, using some air mist, water mist in the air, but the air wants to come inside the containment, say in
Yeah.
a residential
Uh-huh.
situation, rather than pushing out. And again, we know we're dealing with tiny microscopic little fibers that we're concerned with. So
And that's good in the sense of when you guys are entering and exiting containments. I know you guys
yeah,
have the whole different stages of entering, the whole shower
that's
setup
right.
and everything.
Yeah,
But when you go to open that zipper or that T flap up, air
yeah,
is actually going in rather than coming out to the customer's safe
correct,
space, right?
correct.
Okay, and that's the reasoning for all that.
That's the reason for all that. Yeah,
Got it. Got
keep
it.
the fibers, keep the air wanting to go inside our containment rather than anything wanting to go out of
So
our
you're working
containment.
in a controlled environment.
That's correct.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, man. All
All
right.
right.
So Jay at J and Environmental.
Thank you.
How
Yeah.
can people reach you if they need you for any services?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can find us online at www.jnenviro.com. You can call me direct if you like, and my phone number is area code 714-721-3811. And you can email me, and my email address is jay at ENV as in Victor, IRO.com.
Perfect. And I will personally vouch for these guys. Affordable prices, great people to work with.
Thanks.
They're on time when they say they will be. They'll get there before you
Thanks,
do
sir.
most of the time.
Yeah.
All right. So
try.
we have no problems working with this company right here.
Yeah.
Jay?
And likewise, very reputable. Sky Blue, been working with you guys for a while now. And it's always, things are always done right.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Someone asking did you been cross any asbestos on the roofing, like probably like the black mastic, right?
Sure.
Which a lot of roofers just go there, do the removal.
Correct.
But they never tested for asbestos.
Right.
Have you been crossing anything with asbestos on the roof?
We
materials you consider?
We do. Yeah, we do. It's not as often as you think it should be. Usually driven by some type of city ordinance for a re-roof or whatnot, where they're required.
The Newport Beach City.
Mm-hmm.
Newport Beach City is asking for testing the black masticas,
sure,
on the roofing before they do the removal.
Yeah, that's where we see it mostly. Yeah, kind of city, or maybe they're demoing the entire house and they've done a full survey and they found asbestos maybe just in the roofing material that needs to be removed. But to be honest, it's not as often as you would imagine, right? There's a lot of re-roofs happening out there or whatnot, tearing it off and putting it back on, and I'm sure that just happens, and there's nothing we can do about it. But we're here to offer our services when needed.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the only question we have right now.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you again, sir.
Yeah,
thank you again.
Sir. All right.
Much appreciated you coming by, talk to us about our maintenance a little bit. If there's anything else we can do for you, just let us know.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Right, thank you.
Which camera am I looking at?
They're all
recording. All right. All right. Thanks, guys.